the fact that you are into infra consultancy and that too across various infra, be it metros, be it rail, be it road, smart cities as well. So in this entire spread, if you could help us understand where are you seeing more demand heat right now and which is going to be your focus area at least for the next 3 years?
So we see demand across all the sectors, and we're keep on adding new sectors every 3 years or 2 years. But the journey for us, like in the roads and highway sector, we took 10 years to actually reach a matured phase. The urban infrastructure took 5 years to do it, and similarly, the railways we are expecting to happen in 3 years, and similarly, the GeoLabs, which is going to add to our work. So the philosophy of the organization is to keep on adding new verticals every year, be it renewable energy, be it climate, be it other consulting part, sectors. That's being the focus for the organization. And another thing which I would like to add over here is that we are not only domestically, engaging ourselves, we are also internationally engaging ourselves. We are doing projects with ADBs, we have project doing World Bank funded projects. We've got shortlisted for 2 large projects in South Africa, in Africa, which are again World Bank funded projects. So, overall, we are trying to expand our horizons. We especially don't want to focus as one single client, one single sector focus, but want to, enhance the number of sectors that we are doing.
Right. So you want to expand when you talk about your sectoral focus, and like you said, every 3 years you look to actually go ahead and expand. If you see that proof of the pudding is actually in your order book as well, which is actually twice the number of that your revenue number, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong on that particular front. Having higher order book also means that you will have pressure on execution. How do you actually mitigate those?
Okay, great question, right? And the reason why it's a great question is because not many people ask this question in the real world, because their assumption is कि सड़क बन जाएगी, and buildings will get created, or
We are saying it
will
not happen.
yeah, it just happens, right? But it just doesn't happen. Someone is doing it, and every day someone is trying to figure out how to do it better. And you can only do things better when you are utilizing your technology, your people's experience, know-how, the nuances of the ground realities that are there, random flooding. There's so many things that can go wrong on the ground. How better you can plan your project execution relies on the fact that you have most relevant data available from the ground. And that is what we do in-house by default. So we'll fly our drones, we'll send our laser scanning machine, we'll collect 360-degree videographies, and then we'll utilize all of that information to plan better and then explain the the EPC contractors how they can go about building better as well. So those are some of the ways that we can, help build better. And to answer your previous question also, across sectors, government has released a lot of policies and a lot of programs, the Gati Shakti, the Bharat Mala, the Atmanirbhar Bharat. And so looking at that correlation, there is a very likely possibility that all sectors are getting expanded simultaneously, because we have a very ambitious nationwide vision to be Viksit Bharat 2047. And in that context, our ideology or our thought process is, say we have our road sector, which is already established, our railway sector, which we are establishing, urban, which is semi-established. So in all fronts, we can fire up quickly and accelerate quickly, because the government policies allow us to do that. So that's for your praise.
All right. So basically, technology is one of the reasons why actually that is helping you out when you talk about execution. You are, and you have spoken about the fact that the tie-ups with various government agencies as well. Government contracts also brings in credibility. That's one of the biggest things, right? Because that endorses the credibility that your company has. But along with government contracts also means that your cash will be locked for a longer period of time. Also, apart from that, given the fact that I wanted to understand how the payment system works for y'all, because are y'all like on retainership, or is it project basis, or your consultancy charges, commission? How does it all work for y'all, and how do y'all benefit from this?
So given we have multiple forms of consultancy, so we are not defined by just one agency, not just one Morth or one NHAI in roads. So that is not us. We are Morth, NHAI, NHIDCL, PWD, CPWD, all of those empanelments, MSRDC, MSRTC, so on and so on, right? So now because we have our wings spread across all these agencies, the rotation of funds happen relatively easily for us. So the order book size that you see happens because we go everywhere to sell our technology-oriented services and solutions. And then we have like a regular payment coming in from every milestone that we complete for different projects simultaneously across consulting verticals as well. And then subsequently the Geolabs work that we do as well, that allows us to not only do work in-house, but since we have all the equipment, we have all the technical expertise available. So if there are other consulting agencies who do not have that, to finish their government projects, they do come to us and be like, why don't you help us do this? And then we generate our revenue from there as well. So this is a very interesting mix of technology, consulting, representation that we have that allows us to generate revenue consistently and grow our order book exponentially.
Okay. You did speak about Geolabs, and I think that is one of the big of. Sorry about that, Sanka, but yes, Geolabs definitely.
So we'll just
I just wanted to add 2 more points over here. One is that we are presently a government sector. Majority of the work is coming from the government sector. But what we are also trying to do is to also increase our private sector share. Once we have established with the government sector, we have the pre-qualifications, we have delivered projects, even the private sectors are now calling us. Till now it was most likely the big firms like the big fours, the big large engineering firms like AECOMs, which are internationally, or the Jacobs, which are doing more private sector work, right? You don't see their names in India in the government sector place. So it's a different competition altogether. But we are also trying to position ourselves. And the thing which is helping us is the banking advisory work that we are doing. We started in 2019 in that particular segment, and now we are representing one of the largest institutions in the country, doing various activities. In terms of the payments that you mentioned, so all the projects have a different payment cycle, okay? So for example, if you have a DPR, you will have a milestone payment. Okay, so you keep on adding on and you will keep on getting the payments. When it's a supervision kind of an activity which runs over a 3-year period, you get monthly payments. Okay, because you have to depute your people on the ground. When you're doing private sector, we are very happy that we get the money in 15 days time. But of course, government cycles are slightly longer. We have something like 60 to 70 days to actually recover DORA.
All right. So now let me come back to Geolabs, right? It's a rare asset to have, especially when you are into this entire consulting arena, especially infra consulting, and the fact that you've spoken about what Geolabs can do, so which means it makes your work easier, at least, or maybe makes work easier for the companies who have brought you on board. So let me dwell in deeper in it. How has it helped you de-risk? Help the companies de-risk, or the fact that they utilize this sort of technology for their benefit?
So the weakest link in a chain when it comes to infrastructure is the ability to get ground information. Right? If you don't know how the terrain is, if you don't know how the measurement of your existing infra or road, if it is a 2-lane road, what's the measurement, what's the ROW, what's the land acquisition that is required. If you're not aware of these things well, then you have cost overruns, you have time overruns, you have project delays, because you don't know what compensation to give that person to make that 2-lane road 4-lane or 6-lane road, and so on and so on. So now if I have a technology that allows me to fly a drone and collect information of that particular area, go to the agency, get the existing revenue maps and update it on my GIS platform, superimpose them on my drone data sets. And then I can see exactly which house falls under the ROW quickly. I can map the revenue information on that quicker. And then I can decide the ready reckoner rates over there relatively faster. And then the polity, the the sarpanches and the meetings and all of those things happen very seamlessly because they see it. उनको अपना घर दिखता है, उनको अपनी जगह दिखती है, and then they can compare valuations, and then the acquisition happens fast. So those are so many intangibles that happen, and then obviously you're getting the measure, which the engineering team is going to use for designing as per your IRC standards, ensuring the best of the qualities in that sort. So one data set or one mindset actually, that is like, let's get good quality information from the ground and then let it explode in different directions for, improving the overall infrastructure development.
All right. So that's very interesting, especially the fact that you are into a very niche business as well. It's infra consulting. But thank you so much, Gaurav, as well as Hanka, for being a part of Small Cap Spotlight, especially talking about your business and your growth forward. So all the best.
Thank you.